The purpose of the Precedence Reports tab is to help you understand the logic leading up to your task of interest, the logic between two tasks, or why a task moved or went negative from one version to another. You will need to select your task of interest in the left box. You can scroll down the IDs and select one, or you can start to type any part of the ID or description in the yellow Filter Assist box. If you went too far, just backspace. If you want to restore all tasks, clear the Filter Assist box by backspacing or deleting. Let's type in the word risers. Now you can see every task in the schedule that contains the word risers. You can then select the one you want from this reduced set. To clear the filtering, just backspace until the box goes yellow, and you now again have all your tasks. The Preds of the Task of Interest checkbox will list all predecessors to the task of interest arranged by depth going backward. Going back one level is one level removed in our reports. Let's do one now. Okay, we've got the task selected. Now we generate the report, and there it is. We start from that task and we go back all the way down here to 14 levels. The successors of task of interest checkbox will list all successors from the task of interest arranged by depth going forward. Let's try one here. Okay, there we go from where we started, and we go all the way to the last task here. The Preds back to actuals checkbox will go back also, but will stop when it encounters actuals for those times you don't care about completed predecessors, perhaps in the latter stages of the project. The incomplete Preds checkbox will find the tasks responsible in those annoying situations where, under retained logic, a task that should start immediately after its last pred is pushed out by some uncompleted pred, perhaps way back in the logic. This is known in the trade as out-of-sequence progress. Or you might see a task in progress with the remaining duration similarly gapped. You won't need this if you unfailingly correct all out-of-sequence relationships as you go, or if you schedule in progress override mode. But in a very large schedule, when time is short, it's nice to know exactly where the problem lies in a few seconds. The driving Preds checkbox shows only the driving Preds to your task of interest. A driving relationship is immediate, as in a pred finishes on day 23 and one of its successors starts on day 24. These are said to have a driving relationship. Only driving predecessors can influence an unconstrained date. If you have a task date that is calculating unacceptably late, it will be along these driven paths. The "Why did this task move" checkbox is certainly noteworthy. When only a current schedule is loaded, it shows the driving pred chain that determines the start date of the task of interest. When both current and baseline schedules are loaded, it shows each task in the current driving chain contrasted with its state in the baseline, so that you can indeed answer the question, why did this task move? Where there are concurrent drivers, it will trace the one with the least float, but will report other untraced branch points, which you can explore further if the first trace does not fully answer your question. Remember too that you can always load the baseline as the current and run this same report to see the baseline driving path back then. Since these reports happen in milliseconds, you are saved hours of hand tracing the logic. What is that worth? Let's try an example. Let's use our C.264 again. Let's generate the report. And as we look at the logic here, it comes back to this path here, which this task has no driver right here. It has a constraint. The "Why is this task negative" checkbox is similar to the "Why did it move?", but the emphasis is on what is making it negative. Let's look at an example with this task here. And we read that it has a successor here that's negative due to a violated finish on or before constraint. That's the root cause. Let's look at an example of the linkage check between the task of interest and the successor of interest. Are these two tasks connected? Let's use the one we had before, and it reported this successor. Let's see if they are indeed connected. Got the linkage check going, do the report. Boom. So you have one, two, three. That's 3 steps away. They are logically connected. Next up is the topic of task filtering in part 4 of this tutorial. See you there.